I'm going to call our meeting to order. This is our regular meeting of the Board of Supervisors for March 17th, 2026, and happy St. Patrick's Day. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We're going to start out with a moment of silence. Go ahead,
I have a
Supervisor.
moment of silence. We've got something on our consent agenda from the Trust of Karen Marino, who is donating funds to Mount Konocti if we approve that. And I don't know Karen. I tried to do some research, and I know staff doesn't know either, but what a generous gift, and we can honor her with our moment of silence today.
And I also have another one. A moment of silence for John William Coyne. He died on March 5th at 86 years old. He was a resident of Lakeport for about the past 20 years. He previously lived in the Bay Area where he worked in the Plumbers Union for over 60 years. And he was involved in community service activities, the Boy Scouts, the YMCA, and in Lakeport, he was a member of the Lakeport Kiwanis for many years where I served with him. He leaves behind several children, grandchildren, and I wanted to have a moment of silence for him as well today. Were there any others?
I would just like to mention the service person. Whoops. I would just like to mention the service personnel that we have lost during the Iraqi freedom. So we've just had I think it was a fueling accident, I think over the weekend, so, Epic for Fury, yes. So we lost a few more, so I would just like to include them in our moment of silence, our service personnel.
Thank you. Thank you. Supervisor Owen, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
It was Iran, not Iraq. Thank you.
Board Clerk, do we have any extra items not appearing on the agenda today? Any extra items?
We have no extra items, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Next, we're going to move on to the approval of the consent agenda. Is there any board members that wish to pull any of these consent agenda items today? Not hearing any, or Supervisor Crandall? No. Any member of the public wish to request any consent agenda items be pulled for discussion? Nothing in the room, nothing online. I'll bring it back to the board for action.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve consent agenda items 5.1 through 5.14.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries 5-0. We'll move on to our timed items, and we'll go to our 602 item, public input. Can I have showing of hands in the room how many people plan to speak this morning? Okay, online? Anybody online, can you raise your hand? 1, 2, okay, thank you. We're going to go ahead and start online this morning, and the first person is who? Zoom user, if you can identify yourself, and you'll have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Sky Lewa, Pillsbury Family Farms. On a normal day, transparency means keeping things open. It means when the public asks for a direct question, they receive a direct answer. Today, I want to talk about what happens when transparency is denied. I asked a simple question. Is the county's position that expunged convictions are disqualified, or does this board intend to address that issue in future revisions? The response I received was not an answer. It was a refusal. I was told any further emails regarding that question or any question regarding background evaluations conducted by the Sheriff's Department will not be answered by CDD. That is not transparency, that is a barrier. When the government places barriers between itself and the public, the issue is as critical as re-entry. It begins to resemble something that is far more concerning, a system that is operating without accountability. We have heard community development departments say that transparency and accountability are their core values. But what values are not what you say, they are what you practice. Because when members of the public are seeking clarity on expungements or something that is supposed to represent a second chance, they are met with silence. So I have to ask, if expungement does not restore opportunity, then what is its purpose? If individuals can complete probation, follow the law, obtain relief through the courts, and still be denied without explanation, then why do we even have a probation system in this county at all? Re-entry is not just a policy goal, it is a promise. And right now that promise is being quietly undermined. And I have looked beyond this county. Other counties and even other jurisdictions have clear processes. When a background check raises concern, the applicants are given notice. They are given a chance to respond. There is a path forward in other counties, but here. Here in this county, the sheriffs refuse to identify disqualifying factors. Here in this county, there is silence. And silence from the government is not neutral. Silence from the Sheriff's Department shields their decisions from scrutiny. Silence from community development erodes trust. Some supervisors say they can be the voice for the people in closed sessions. When formal complaints to the board, supervisors, and human resources go unanswered, when the public cannot see how concerns are addressed, where is the transparency in that? Where is the accountability? If this board really wants to see growth, if you really want a stable cannabis industry, if you really want cannabis revenue to support youth programs, you must address the foundation first. And foundation is the trust. And right now, the direction of community development department is not building that trust, it is eroding it. So transparency and accountability are not optional qualities. They are the requirements of leadership. So I urge you, reevaluate the direction of this department, reevaluate the leadership guiding it, and consider appointing an interim senior planner, someone who understands the process, who respects transparency, and who's willing to answer the public when they ask legitimate questions. Because right now, it feels this board is not directing that department. It is the department directing you. And that is not governance. It is a loss of accountability. Muleha.
Thank you. Jody, if you could state your name, you'll have 3 minutes.
My name is Jody Johnson, and I am Golden State Manufacturer Homeowner League's Vice President County. More importantly, I am a resident of Youngstown Mobile Park in Petaluma, commonly referred to as Ground Zero, for the attack on Mobile Park seniors and vulnerable family residents who simply purchased a mobile home to live within their means by the new breed of mobile park owner large investment groups. These bad actor large investment group mobile park owners are in Lake County, and they are weaponizing the county not having a rent stabilization ordinance against your very own residents. Unheard of is hitting residents with $400,000 in previous operating expenses from up to 3 years ago, retroactively, not even vetted whether they were of benefit to the residents, nor whether these pass-throughs were necessary improvements. Then without an RSO, the other bad actor laying prey in your county and every city they own a park in, added $350 to residents per month ground rent because they can. At first, under the guise the state wouldn't pay for water improvements, and then in their own words, because Lake County is considering a rent stabilization ordinance. Enact an urgency moratorium on increases and enact a rent stabilization ordinance that strengthens and defends the rights of your Lake County mobile park residents. Residents who own their mobile homes should not be concerned about displacement. While you delay agendizing this, the residents, your constituents, are suffering. Large investment group park owners' only concern is profit to their investors. Profit over people should not be how mobile park communities operate. Our concern, yours and mine, is for the residents and keeping them housed in a mobile home they own. Thank you.
Thank you. Hillary, if you could state your name, you'll have 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Hillary Mosier, and I'm the volunteer regional manager for the Golden State Manufactured Homeowners League. We have all met before. I came here to represent our members in saying that we remain disappointed that you refuse to place the rent stabilization ordinance on the agenda. You have approved an ad hoc committee 7 months ago that we all deserve to hear a progress report from. So far, only one draft of a badly defective RSO has come out of that committee. It is the same draft that the Park Owners Association has given to other municipalities. They give it to you because it has so many loopholes, it does not in any way stabilize rents or prevent predatory actions from recurring. I have sent the committee and all of you an analysis of these issues. I also sent a recommended airtight RSO that we are hoping you will adopt. Right now, in reaction to your forming the ad hoc committees, at least 2 park owners have increased their fees illegally, while the board fails to make any progress to protect this important source of affordable housing, as you are required to do by state mandate. So far, what little action you have taken has backfired, and affordability has eroded in parks in Lake County like never before. At Meadow Point, Harmony has raised the rent more than 50% in violation of state law, which sets a cap of 10%. In Lake Shores, Caritas created a bogus pass-through in violation of their own nonprofit mission, which requires preservation of affordable housing. We are pleading with you. We are begging with you. Please, please place this issue on the agenda, request a progress report from the ad hoc committee, and proclaim a temporary moratorium on all fee increases in parks in Lake County, retroactive to January. You can do this. Other municipalities have done it successfully, and Lake County can too. Please help your residents and save affordable housing. Thank you.
Thank you. No more hands online. I'm going to move to the room. The first person is welcome to come up and state your name, and you'll have 3 minutes.
My name is Steven Zerker, and this is my wife Melody Zerker.
Hello.
We live in Sterling Shores Mobile Home Estates. We're back. This is my 4th meeting coming to talk to you about this issue. The mobile home owners need you to close this loophole on the pass-through fees. We don't know if they're going to add more. We're asking for some kind of movement on this. I'm asking you again to add this to your agenda, this moratorium on pass-through fees that would be retroactive to January 1st of this year. We ask you to pass a rent stabilization ordinance that's strong enough without loopholes. I'm not asking you for some left-wing agenda. I'm asking, we understand they need to make a profit, but this $350 a month addition, somebody has to close these kind of loopholes. You need some control here. Help your constituents, help the elderly, and help the disabled that cannot come today. We're standing in for them. We're asking you to pray about this thing. Pray about it. And of course, Melanie and I are hoping for a little bit of luck of the Irish today. That anyway, God bless you all.
Thank you.
Hi, John Martin from Clear Lake Oaks, Lake Village Estates. I came back to see if you guys got off your butts yet about this. Apparently you haven't. This needs to be put on the agenda right away. We are the voters. You are elected officials. You want to keep your job? Then you better start doing something, because we're getting tired of this. And all these pass-through charges, they're bogus. What for? Just pure greed. Put that on the people. And I'd like to know one thing is, Why does rent have to go up every year? What's the reason behind it? Just pure greed. Then we need this rent control in right away. And if you guys ain't gonna do it, there's a lot of voters out here that'll stop you, or remove you, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Next in the room.
Good morning, supervisors. So here we go again. My name is Barbara Armanino from Sterling Shores Mobile Home Park. If you would like to turn your chairs around so that your backs are facing us, feel free to do so. That way the optics match your actions, I mean lack of actions, because us seniors feel you have literally turned your back on us. Do your job.
Thank you. Next in the room. Doesn't appear we have anything. Anybody else? Do you want to speak, sir?
I remembered my name this time. My name is Richard Schmidt. I live at Sterling Shores Mobile Home Park. One of my neighbors who was here last week pushing a walker toward the microphone can't be here this week. Her name is Gloria, and she is 95 years old. She was born and raised in South Dakota. She has lost a husband and son since she moved into Sterling Shores. The ambulance took her away on Friday. She fell and was badly injured. She asked me to speak for her today. She said to tell you we need this rent stabilization ordinance. She said she'd like to see this happen before she dies. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Good morning, Bruno, Helen, Brad, Jessica, and EJ. My name is Maya Lynn, and I live in Lake County. As you know, we're here, a lot of us, with the Save Our Shelters because we're looking for you to take action. As your constituents, we've come before you, and we're not going to stop. So I hope when you wake up on Tuesday mornings, your thought is, yay, I hope they're there again, because I love seeing all those people struggle for their homes. Actually, I hope you don't say that. There are only 58 counties in California, yet there are over 100 cities and counties that have their own protective rent ordinances. You can do it too. You're all smart enough, and you have the information, and you have the resources. I had my husband, I'm not a mathematician, maybe you are. I went to Meadow Point Mobile Home Park. Have you gone there? Have you guys gone there? I never didn't know where it was. I know you know where it is, EJ. It's in your community, and I'm sure you visit them frequently. I stopped and walked through the park, and I asked them, what's going on? How do you feel? They said, we're scared. We can't say anything. We're scared. The last time we mentioned a tree, we had a letter come out saying that we're responsible for our trees now. She sent me the pictures. I asked her to please send you guys those pictures. Why is it her responsibility? Those trees were there before Meadow Park Point, whatever it's called, was ever there. And for them to receive a $350 rent increase, again, please get a mathematician, their rent would have had to have been $11,000 a month. Because if you look at the law, they're not allowed to increase more than 3% plus CPI. But everybody's letting them get away with it. So they would have to be paid $8,200 per space per month to legally receive $350. Now, please get a mathematician to figure that out, because it was really difficult. Another thing that is really irritating about all of this is my particular park, Caritas, who touts themselves as an affordable housing for profit. They just increased, as you all know, a little 5% postage and rent portal. They own 1,733 spaces in the state of California. That gave them an extra $103,800. In October, they increased our rent $45. That gave them an extra $77,850. They've given themselves a $200,000 raise in like 4 months. We know that the reason people like mobile home parks instead of apartments for investing, and you're spending all your time and looking at pro-housing with affordable housing, look in front of your eyes. Protect what we have, okay? Apartments, people they can get pissed off and pick up and move. They know that when you buy a mobile home park, we love our homes. We have invested in them. They look nice. They're our homes. They know we're not going to pack up and walk out the door. They know that if they keep passing through these little fees, we're going to pay it. What else are we going to do?
Thank you.
Except ask you for help, and we'll be back.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else in the room who wishes to speak?
Come on.
Any-
Hi, my name is Robin Bergman, and I live in Lake Village Estates, and I'm not real good at talking in front of a lot of people, so I just want to say I agree with everything everybody is saying here. It is so important that this be acknowledged and taken care of. Seniors are going to be homeless. And anyway, thank you. I don't know what else to say.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else in the room? No one else? Not seeing anyone, I'm going to go ahead and close public comment. And as I've stated before, we can't currently discuss this topic, but we are hearing the information. It is being looked into. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We've closed public comment at this point. Thank you. I'm going to move on to our 903 item, which is Pet of the Week.
Good morning, board members. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Merlin. He is a male, is neutered. He's about 5 years of age. He was found right across the street at Lightberry Park. He's more of a lap dog, very, very energetic and happy. He would partner well with a small child or another small dog, but he's just full of happiness, and we've had him at the shelter for about a month now. Anybody have any questions? Want to adopt it? I'll give them to you right now.
I do have a question. How did the adoption day go last Saturday?
The adoption event, as far as my knowledge goes, it was 3 cats got adopted out and 2 canines.
Thank you. Any other comments? Anybody in the public? We wish to comment
Oh, okay.
about this item? Okay, then you're not able to comment unless it's about this item. Thank you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and move on to our 6.3 item. 905 item, presentation of proclamation designating the week of March 15th through 21st, 2026 as National Agriculture Week in Lake County. And our District 1 Supervisor, Helen Owen, will handle this item. If you're here for Ag Week, you're welcome to please come up on the stage here with the supervisor.
Sunny, all the farmers are farming, guys. How are you? Good, how are you? And what's your name? Sorry.
Okay. I think it's on. Yep. Okay. Board of Supervisors of Lake County, State of California proclamation designating the week of March 15th through the 21st, 2026 as National Agriculture Week in Lake County. Whereas California is a national leader in the farming industry with its production of over 400 different commodities and contributes over $60 billion in high quality food, fiber, and flour products annually. Over a third of the country's vegetables, 2/3 of the country's fruits and nuts are grown in California. And whereas Lake County has a long and rich agriculture history, starting in the 1850s when early settlers planted the first vineyards, followed in the 1890s with the planting of the first Bartlett pear crops, which have flourished in the fertile valleys and hills. And whereas today Lake County's agriculture industry continues to be a vital economic engine, providing jobs and contributing to a strong tax base, bringing more than $102 million in value of its major crops and pears, wine grapes, walnuts, as well as the increased contributions of olives, nursery, livestock fields, and seed crops and vegetable crops. And whereas Lake County farmers are stewards of the land, contributing to the health, beauty, productivity, and quality of the county's water, soil, air, and forest resources for the benefit of all Californians and Lake County residents. And whereas Lake County's agricultural industry fosters a deep caring for the land and our community contributes to our local economy, ensures the production of safe food, gives back to the local charities and organizations, supports our way of life, and continues to embrace education and scientific knowledge to further agriculture advances. Now, whereas the Board of Supervisors of Lake County does hereby proclaim March 15th through the 21st, 2026 as National Agriculture Week in Lake County, and celebrates the achievements of more than 1 million people who work throughout the year in Lake County and California's #1 industry, passed and adopted this 17th day of March 2026 and signed by the Board of Supervisors. Thank you.
Thank you so much. As you'll notice, we have few farmers here, but lots of agriculture industry leaders in Lake County. Last year, we had quite a few farmers and ranchers, and I think that's mainly due to the weather. If you'll recall, last year's proclamation was presented on a lovely, quite wet day, and today is the opposite. We've got lots of sunshine and good weather, so our farmers and ranchers are out there doing what they do. But in any case, we're grateful for the recognition, and I would just add that agriculture is really the foundation of Lake County's economy, and the agriculture industry is struggling due to increased production costs, increased regulatory pressure. The industry needs support, and so there's definitely a need for thoughtful policy. We talk a lot about how resilient the agriculture industry is, and that's true. It's something that our growers are proud of, but every industry has their breaking point. And so I think it's important that we continue to support and promote agriculture into the future, and support our agricultural economy here in Lake County. So with that, would anybody else like to add anything?
Thank you. Board members? We're good? Go ahead, Supervisor Sabachi.
Just appreciate the fact that we do have the agricultural industry that we have here. The struggle is very real. I don't think there's ever been a time where farming was ever easy. The labor that it requires in order to get the fruits of your labor is difficult, and the industry itself and the economies that we have, it's just gotten harder and harder. As I believe you mentioned that we are 0.5% of the population, it's a very small percentage of the population. We came from an agrarian type of lifestyle where the majority of people were involved in agriculture in order to survive, to a point where the majority, a large majority, more than 98%, almost 99%, rely on such a small percentage of folks to do the things that agriculture brings us: food, clothing, all types of other things, fuel. That's just that's how important it is. So
Less than 2% of the nation is involved.
I knew you knew the number.
Thank you. Anybody in the public wish to speak on this item? No hands in the room, no hands online. Let's do a picture.
Oh, and thanks everybody for wearing green for ad. I really great quality.
Can you see us all, Trevor?
That's what I was trying to do. Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, you too.
Yeah, look.
Yeah, we have it.
Oh.
Bah humbug.
In spirit.
And we're going to move on to our 6.4, 915 item. Consideration of update on 2024-2025 annual report and activities of the Lake County Resource Conservation District and the Lake County Fire Safe Council. I'll turn it over to Vice Chair Pyska to introduce.
Well, they are making their way up here. So the Lake County Resource Conservation District also works the Lake County Fire Safe Council. This has been years in the making. I'm very proud of where we are right now because of this dedicated team in the room, out there. Spent so much time trying to figure out how to build capacity, bring in funding, and sorry, we good? Okay. So we're here today because of the dedication and because these folks in the room and the board members of the RCD realized that this was a very important entity for us to have in Lake County and spend a lot of time building it to what it is today. And so this is really an exciting presentation. And I hope you guys can view this through the lens of basically starting at 0 in 2021. When I first came into office, the president of the RCD was telling me that he wanted to shut the doors, which means it would have shut the doors on the RCD and the Fire Safe Council. So in the last 5 years, this is how far we've come.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. Can you all hear me? Is that okay?
Yeah, a little
Okay.
closer.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, supervisors. My name is Julia Sullivan Shaban, and I am the executive director of the Lake County Resource Conservation District and Fire Safe Council. And looking forward to sharing some of the highlights from our past year this morning. Let's see. Okay, great. This is just a snapshot of what I'm going to cover. So I'll start with some organizational activities, some highlights on this front, a snapshot of our finances, some program highlights over the past year, and then briefly look ahead. So starting with organizational activities, I'm going to linger on this photo for a second. This was captured back in October at a strategic planning workshop that we held at Mandala Springs in Cobb. So this is most of our staff and most of our board, and it is quite a full team. I need to point out one individual lurking in the back there, Greg Dills in particular, who retired actually last month after more than 25 years with the district. So we are grateful for his decades of service, trying very hard to fill his big shoes and actively hiring for his replacement to lead the watershed restoration program. But really a lot of the legacy of work that the RCD has done is due to Greg Dills, and so we owe him quite a lot. And many of our staff and a couple of our board members are here today as well, so thank you. Okay, we've been doing a lot on the organizational activity front, but I'm just gonna highlight a couple of items here. On the right, you can see our annual report, which is really looking back at the fiscal year 2024-2025. I did bring some printed copies of this that I can distribute following this presentation, and would encourage you to flip through those. This is a document that I'm very proud of, captures a lot of the work that we did obviously over that period of time, and admittedly took longer to pull together than I expected. So please do look at it before we have to make another one. Shifting to the left here, we have been spending quite a bit of time this past 9 or 10 months or so on strategic planning. So in January, just a couple months ago, our board of directors passed a new strategic direction document for the organization that will take us through 2030. This was the culmination of many months of working closely with a consultant, gathering information through internal interviews with every member of our staff and our board of directors, partner interviews with 10 external organizations, a couple of in-person workshops, and now we're really focusing on developing the very granular actions that we need to implement in order to deliver on the goals that we've committed ourselves to in this document. And you can see those goals here. So starting at the top, this is our somewhat revamped organizational purpose statement. So the Lake County Resource Conservation District is dedicated to the locally led, community-driven conservation and restoration of Lake County's natural and working lands. And we see ourselves delivering on that purpose through the 7 goals that you can see here. Some of them are a little bit more internally oriented, like goals 6 and 7, which focus on funding and kind of our staff, board of directors, dynamics and function. But really, most of them are very externally oriented. Goal 1 is related to partnership and strong cooperation. We have goals specific to each of our program areas: healthy and resilient forests, ecological resilience for Lake County's farms and ranches, healthy watersheds. And then goal 5 is really meant to focus on community education and engagement. This is something we see other RCDs doing really effectively in other counties, and is something that we're really looking forward to investing in more deliberately in the years to come. I think this is a space that the RCD can really increase its programming and connect more deliberately with the communities of Lake County. Okay, shifting now to a brief look at our finances over the past year. To your point, Supervisor Pyska, 2021 was a different time. You can see on the bar chart here on the left, for several years there, were operating with very little funding, and we're in a bit of an uncertain place as far as the future of the organization. But really, as you can see, over 2024, 25, and now into 26, we have been on a really different trajectory. And last year, our fiscal year budget was $2.2 million. This year, it's $3.3. As we begin this process, looking ahead to the next fiscal year, we're expecting kind of a similar increase there, and grateful to have funding opportunities to support our growing programs and our excellent staff. About 71% of our funding is currently state. About a fifth or 20% is federal. And then we get about 4% of our funding from local and private sources, including an annual allocation from our county tax income. So it's hard to see here. It's actually the small sliver of green on the leftmost side of the bar chart. It varies annually, but typically is between $25,000 and $30,000 that we receive from that tax base. Another way to look at these numbers is in the pie chart on the right. So that displays kind of how this funding breaks down across our different program areas. As you can see, the lion's share of our budget supports our forest health program. That's 55% of our funding. 25% supports watersheds, and we have smaller allocations for sustainable agriculture, about 3%, and the Lake County Fire Safe Council at about 5%. I will, acknowledge that the portion of forest health funding really reflects the funding that's available, state and federally, and also the priorities of Lake County. But we are happy to have more funding for our watershed program this year, and are really working hard to grow our agriculture program and to stabilize the Fire Safe Council as well. So expecting and hoping to see a bit of a more balanced pie chart in years to come there. Okay, we currently have over 30 active grants and contracts. For the purposes of today's presentation, I'm just going to take a moment to highlight one in particular for each program that is especially new or exciting, or maybe representative of a new direction that the program is evolving in. So we'll start with forest health. And the project I want to mention here is called Fire in Hand Healing Lands. This is a U.S. Forest Service funded project through the Community Wildfire Defense Program, CWDG. This proposal actually came together in 2023, so before I started in this role. But as we understand, with federal funding was subject to a lot of delays and other challenges over the past couple of years. This funding was in a very uncertain place in early 2025, but we're fortunate now to have an agreement executed and to have gotten the ball rolling on this project in partnership with Terra over the past few months. This $7.3 million award is very focused on implementation and reducing wildfire risk in Lake County. The majority of this funding is passed through to Terra, so about $5 million of that total sum will go directly to them to support really an ambitious acreage target of fuels reduction activities with an ecocultural focus, so prescribed and cultural fire on over 1,000 acres in Lake County. That represents a pretty significant and ambitious increase from their annual acreage amounts right now, but they're up for it. We are developing a really strategic prioritization process to identify those acres, and supporting them as they get that work underway. For the RCD's part, we are going to be standing up soon a hazard tree removal program. So we've had some early exploratory conversations with Public Works, other partners within the county, to begin identifying critical evacuation routes and private properties within and adjacent to the county right-of-way that would benefit from that hazard tree removal. So again, just in the early phases of launching this project, but we will certainly be seeking more input in the months to come as we prioritize some of these acres and treatment areas. And this runs through 2029. Next, our Sustainable Agriculture Program. And I want to speak here to our SALC program, which is an acronym that maybe is becoming familiar. SALC refers to the Sustainable Agricultural Lands Conservation Program. It's a funding mechanism through the Department of Conservation. And the County Community Development Department is the primary recipient of this funding, but the RCD is really the prime partner and sort of lead implementer for this project. So the main intent of this funding source is to identify ways to better support farmers and keep ag land in production. So to guard against pressures like conversion and development, abandonment, to many of the points that Rebecca made earlier, better understand how we can keep farmers farming and support them here in Lake County. This is a $500,000 planning grant that runs for the next 3 years, so through late 2028. We have an excellent project team assembled on this one that we've started convening over the past couple months, including CDD, of course, the Ag Department, Farm Bureau, Land Trust, Wine Grape Commission, Middletown Rancheria Band of Homo Indians, and NCO. And this project will consist of many of the activities that you see here. So we have a pretty ambitious slate of community engagement activities that are meant to really build on the momentum that the county generated last year through its ag stakeholders meetings, convened as part of the ag element and general planning process. We'll be doing some economic analysis and developing a pretty sophisticated mapping tool. We'll be evaluating incentivizing tools, so exploring what technical and financial assistance programs the RCD can access to better support farmers, exploring the interest in and relevance of tools like conservation easements within Lake County, and whether the Land Trust might be a relevant partner in that effort. And we also intend to integrate really closely with county planning, so the general plan here. We are making great efforts to not duplicate any of the work that the county is doing through that ag element process, and really are aiming to build on it quite directly. We're drawing out priorities and actions within that plan and seeing how we can move them forward through this funding. Ideally, at the end of this project, we will have identified various sources for implementation funding, both through the Department of Conservation that can follow on to this phase one directly, and then other funding mechanisms that we can leverage and access as the RCD, again, to provide technical and financial assistance to farmers. So this is a really exciting one. Our past several months of meetings have been going quite well, and we're happy to be moving on this as well. Shifting to watershed restoration, the project I'm going to mention here is called the Clear Lake Oaks Revitalization Initiative, Phase 1A. So this was funded by the Blue Ribbon Committee last year through a general fund allocation from the California Natural Resources Agency. As the name implies, Phase 1A, this is going to be a long haul. Phase 1A is the first of what we anticipate will be probably a 4-phase project rolling out over the next decade, really. The RCD is the lead recipient on this project, and we are working closely with a team of many subcontractors, including engineers and biologists, tribes, local organizations, environmental compliance experts. And really, once implemented, so at the end of this whole process, this project will be designed to restore and rehabilitate Schindler Creek and the Clear Lake Keys, including improving habitat for the hitch, increasing water quality and navigability in the canals, ideally possibly using some of the dredged material to help cap the Sulphur Bank Mine Superfund site. So really a lot of significant ecological and community benefits that we anticipate on the other side of this project. This initial phase is 2 years and $2.3 million. That will get us to 65% planning and design, followed by an additional planning phase, and then, of course, implementation. The reason the timeline for planning is so long on this is because, as I'm sure you can imagine, this is a very complex system. There's a lot we need to understand in terms of flow dynamics and sediment accumulation. It's also very complex in terms of environmental compliance and navigating state and federal permitting processes. So we really want to get this right, and we want to make sure that the engineering design plans that we end up with are going to work, and not just for 5 years, but for decades to come. So we are actually hosting a site tour tomorrow morning out at this project site, and working hard to garner some more community support in the Clear Lake Keys POA in particular for this project. It is a big initiative and an ambitious one, but one that we're really excited to be leading. And lastly, the Lake County Fire Safe Council. I will just mention that we relate to the Fire Safe Council a little bit differently than some of our other programs. We provide staffing support and funding support and really administer the Lake County Fire Safe Council, but we understand the council itself as a network, a countywide network of other partner organizations. So a lot of the thinking we've done over the past year has been related to how do we position ourselves relative to those other organizations, relative to the Konocti Fire Safe Council and South Lake Fire Safe Council? How can we best support them and fill gaps that they might not be covering? And so that's captured here in the charter that we developed and adopted back in July. But I'm actually not going to spend too much more time on this because John has a whole presentation that he's going to follow mine with on this topic. So more to come there. Not quite here yet. Last couple slides here. I did just want to take a moment to note in particular all of the county contracts that we currently have. So as a special district and a public agency, we have the ability to contract directly with the county and with other agencies. And this is a mechanism that we love utilizing when it makes sense for both parties. We think is really efficient. It's administratively quite simple and a great way to make some projects happen depending on capacity and funding availability. So again, John is actually going to speak to several of these in his presentation to come, both in the context of the Fire Safe Council and the RRA. But I did just want to mention two additional ones in particular. Goats Roo is a longstanding partnership between the Ag Department and the RCD, I believe going on 6 or 7 years. And through that mechanism, the RCD provides staffing support directly to the Ag Department to monitor and remove Goats Roo, which is an invasive weed in the 8 Mile Valley area. And then, of course, revitalizing Lake County agriculture. That's the SALC project that I just mentioned. Yeah, we are very appreciative of the county's partnership and trust. We value the opportunity to contract directly and to work with you across so many of our programs on many of these projects. So thank you. Okay, last slide. I have to say a huge thank you to the county and to Aiden Pearson in particular for leading what has to be the most efficient renovation process I've ever witnessed at the Ag Building. We, for those of you that don't know, had our previous office or current office could fit maybe 2 people on a good day, and didn't have a single window, was more or less like a closet. And it worked for us for a while, but we've outgrown it dramatically. And in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be shifting into an adjacent space, still at the Ag Building, but one that was previously a garage and sort of storage unit, and is now going to be our new office. So we will be able to have many more of our staff in person in that space and even host some partner meetings there. So we look forward to welcoming many of you there, hopefully in the months to come. A couple other things to mention. We're in the process of developing a new website. This has admittedly languished a little bit because we've been pretty busy making these projects happen, but that is going to be coming soon in the next few months, so please keep an eye out. As I mentioned, we are growing our staff capacity, so hiring to fill Greg's position and lead the watershed restoration program. We also recently floated an outreach and communication specialist role in partnership with the Lake County Land Trust. So that role would actually be split between the two entities. That's posted on our website now, so please do pass it along if you know anyone that might be well-suited or interested. And lastly, I want to just note some of the new and expanded partnerships that have been a real highlight of this past year. It's not an accident or a mistake that our very first goal in the strategic plan is related to strong cooperation and partnership. So we really do believe that we can be most effective as an organization if we work through effective partnerships. And this list here is just a snapshot of those that we have been fortunate to work closely with over this past year, both through many of the projects that I recently mentioned, I'll note Mendocino National Forest and CAL FIRE as well. We've been working very closely with over the past 6 months or so to develop some project concepts and hopefully drive some funding to the Lake Pillsbury area and that part of the county. Our ag staff has also been doing an excellent job working with Robinson Rancheria and the Chaos Sheep outfit to develop a workshop curriculum for prescribed grazing, which is an area that we're really looking forward to focusing more on in the years to come. So really just, this is some of the most enjoyable work we do is with these partners, and want to highlight that. Okay, I will leave you with our organizational purpose statement one more time, our contact information, of course, and thank you. Great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Just making sure All right. Good morning, folks. My name is John Vandervoort, Program Manager with Lake County RCD. Thank you to Julia for some of the teeing up that you already did regarding our work through the Lake County Fire Safe Council. Really excited to attend today and share some of the updates on what we've been focused on over the last year. So as Julia already alluded to, the Lake County Fire Safe Council is administered by the Lake County Resource Conservation District. We act as the county-wide Fire Safe Council, and really the primary goal of the Fire Safe Council is to convene partners to coordinate wildfire resilience work and standardize messaging, encouraging the effective sharing of information and resources, as well as providing all residents with the educational, physical, and financial resources that they need to actively protect their family, property, and communities from the wildfires that we're also familiar with in this county. Funding for the Fire Safe Council is pulled from a number of sources, but primarily the activity and the programming of the Fire Safe Council is provided through the County Coordinator Program, which is administered through the California Fire Safe Council. Throughout late 2024 and early 2025, the Fire Safe Council went through a quite thorough strategic planning process, and through that we developed the charter that Julia flagged earlier, and we also identified these 5 primary strategic goals, which you see listed in front of you. Those being having the Fire Safe Council really most effectively step into this convening role throughout the county, actively tracking progress on the Lake County Community Wildfire Protection Plan, maximizing its prior investments in defensible space programming, prioritizing relationship building with tribal entities and all of the entities and organizations and agencies within the county that most effectively serve our underserved populations, and then finally increasing the diversity of its funding sources to ensure programmatic stability. Now, I'm going to be digging into each one of those activities and how we've been making progress on each of them. The first that I am admittedly quite excited to talk through is our recent developments in tracking CWPP activities. Now, this is an activity that the Fire Safe Council is specifically tasked with, and we have only very recently officially built out this new platform that is going to be able to be effectively crowdsourced by all practitioners within the county, and all individuals, agencies, organizations that are actively working on activities related to the CWPP are going to be able to provide essentially live updates to this tracker. All of those updates are going to be coordinated through the Fire Safe Council, and we will act as the kind of primary entity ensuring that all of those updates are transferred appropriately and correctly into the tracker. But this is going to be very much a public-facing resource that all practitioners within the county are going to have direct access to. And we are only just now launching this, but we are really excited to start distributing this and having it be contributed to more broadly within the county very, very soon. Now, to this convening role that the Fire Safe Council seeks to play throughout the county, there are a few different ways that we hope to do that. One of the avenues through which we plan to do that is through our engagement and the support that we provide to our local Firewise communities. These are local leaders at the neighborhood and community scale that are really committed to ensuring that their communities are resilient to the impacts of wildfire. And we hope to support those community leaders as effectively as we can. We want to do so through ensuring that they have access to channels of communication, that they are able to effectively share and access resources shared by other practitioners and community members within the county. And we also recognize that, Firewise communities, there's a lot of administrative work at times to maintain your Firewise designation, to go through the annual renewal and compliance process through NFPA, and we are actively firming up those lines of communication with those Firewise communities to make sure that we are able to provide that support with the annual renewal process, make sure that the Firewise communities are all tracking their volunteer hours correctly, and this is a service that we are really prioritizing as we move into 2026 and are continuing to provide more effectively. I also want to flag that the Fire Safe Council, we are the county-wide Fire Safe Council, but we also recognize how critical and how valuable our local Fire Safe Councils are. And we are always looking to identify opportunities to collaborate more effectively with those Fire Safe Councils. We know that the incredible work of Konocti, South Lake Fire Safe Council, and the Emergent Redbud Fire Safe Council that is an incredibly effective mechanism for those communities within those jurisdictions to coordinate with one another. And we only ever want to layer the services that we provide on top of the work that those more local Fire Safe Councils are already doing. In terms of some of our more implementation-focused work, defensible space is always going to be, has always been, and will always be a priority of the Fire Safe Council. In 2024, we administered a larger round of defensible space with funding through CAL FIRE. Through that funding in 2024, we provided services to just over 100 homes throughout the county. In 2025 and in early 2026, we have been focused on administering an additional second round of defensible space funding with a $50,000 allocation directly from Supervisor Pyska. So thank you again, Supervisor Pyska, for your commitment there. And this funding is actively being administered, and we are well underway and currently treating homes in exclusively District 5. We are on track to complete a total of 20 homes, just about 20 homes by the end of this funding, which we're hoping to do so in the next couple of weeks or month or so. And then an additional item that I'm admittedly quite excited to talk about is our mobile tool cache program. And this is a program that we launched earlier in 2025. It took us a little bit to figure out how exactly we can most effectively promote this program to the public, make it accessible. And in recent months, it's really picked up speed and garnered a lot of interest. So this program is a publicly accessible free lending program where we provide lightly mechanized tools, hand equipment, some larger mechanized tools and equipment like a log splitter for free to the public for use so that they can ensure and complete defensible space work on their home. And as I mentioned, this has really garnered a lot of interest just over the last couple of months. And recently, we have been able to identify some, I think, really meaningful opportunities to collaborate and layer this program on top of work that's already being done within the county. We recently partnered with NCO and provided a full suite of tools to some of their AmeriCorps staff that are currently working on defensible space throughout the county, and we were able to really effectively partner with them and make sure that they had everything that they needed to do that work most effectively. We are also looking at other programs that we might be able to effectively layer our program on, including some evacuation route clearing work that's going to be done by a clerk over the coming months or next year, and as well as clerk's chipping program. We're in active conversations with them to figure out how we can most effectively sequence providing access to this inventory of tools with all of the incredible work that they are doing through their existing programs as well. And then I will flag that up until this point, the mobile tool cache has been less mobile than we had hoped. It's been primarily in our storage unit. But I am happy to share that very recently, just about a week ago, we purchased a trailer that we will be using to make the mobile tool cache actually mobile. And we are planning to use that trailer to host community work days, coordinating really closely with Firewise communities, and making sure that those, again, community leaders have everything that they need to complete the work on their homes. So really excited to share that update there. And then I don't have a slide for this next item because this is a little hot off the presses, but I'm also very excited to share that, as I mentioned earlier, the Fire Safe Council is continuing to explore how to diversify its funding and programming however possible, and I'm really happy to share that we just recently secured an additional $100,000 from PG&E to perform just shy of 5 miles, 4.7 miles of evacuation route clearing on Spruce Grove, the very northern section of Spruce Grove that intersects with Highway 29. So we are very excited to start moving that work forward in the next couple of months here. And with that, thank you all so much. Really appreciate the time.
Thank you. Anything from supervisors?
I have a couple of things, but I'll let everybody else go first.
Okay, Supervisor Sabatier?
I just want to thank you first for the annual report, but also thank you for reaching out in the first place to share your support and guidance to start the Fire Safe Council in Lower Lake and Clear Lake and the surrounding areas. You guys have been pretty critical to us being able to slowly take the first steps and just, again, really appreciate it. Had a meeting with you guys yesterday. It's good to see you in person. So thank you.
Good to see you.
Supervisor Pyska?
Yeah, can you talk about the monthly meeting where we all get to share out all the information that happened, that's received, and all the exciting grant announcements? You talked about the PG&E one for Spruce Grove Road. That's just one of 3 that were awarded for the county. The Konocti Fire Safe Council got under $100,000 for evacuation clearing along Soda Bay Road, and also Siegler Springs Community Redevelopment Association got one for reestablishing fire breaks. So these are just the exciting things we get to talk about at our monthly meeting. So John, how do people participate there?
Shoot me an email, please, and I will be more than happy to add you to our distribution list.
It's a standing meeting when?
Standing meeting the second Thursday at 10.
It's on Zoom.
Yeah, it's on Zoom and in person.
Mhm.
So it's a hybrid meeting.
Yeah, so if anyone is interested, you can reach out to John or me or Terry, and we will all get you on the email list. You can participate.
Thank you. Supervisor Owen?
Okay. These are really cool programs, and thank you so much. I'm really glad that this program didn't die. So thank you, all of you.
We are too.
Yes. I do have a couple of questions. With agriculture struggling so much right now, and I'm really glad that you guys are getting into the grazing. That's a very cool and important aspect. So that made me really happy when you mentioned that. But only 2.8% of the budget this year. I'm hoping that it grows in the future. Because I think in California, I had mentioned this in another meeting, it looks like approximately 400 ranch/farms went under during 2025, which is massive since there was something like, 1,500 nationwide. That means an average of 20 per state, with the exception of California, which was 400. So I think some focus in that area is really important for the health of our agriculture. And I know a lot of things just mention the farming end of things, but our livestock is huge as well. So I think that that's vitally important, figuring out what we can do for that. It'd be interesting to see what our actual costs are versus labor. I had noticed with the $5 million being sent to Terra for cleaning, I think it was 1,100 acres, clearing 1,100 acres of fire, to reduce the fuels, that works out to be something like $4,500 per acre. So it'd be interesting to know what the admin and labor costs versus the actual expenses are on that. Let me see. For Mr. John, let me see. Oh, I know what else. I had a question again for Julia. You had mentioned that there's an on-site visit for tomorrow, but you didn't mention a time for that.
Yeah, we're meeting at 9:30 at the Clear Lake Oaks boat launch.
9:30. Thank you. That's what I wanted.
And actually, yeah, you're all welcome to join us. If you do intend to come.
I would like to come.
Okay, great. We are maxing out our pontoon capacity. So I'm just,
Oh, very
we have
cool.
space, but I just have to
Okay.
shuffle some numbers a little bit, and we'd love
No,
to have you.
that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I would really like to attend.
Yeah, please do.
And I think I had one, so your meetings are the second of the month, so, okay, thank you. And
Second
this is-
Thursday.
Second Thursday, yes, I have that down. It didn't have a location for the in-person.
They're hybrid. The in-person portion is at our office at
Okay.
9 Lakeport
The
Boulevard.
closet?
We have a lovely conference room that we commandeer
teasing.
once a month.
No, we're graduating. We're
I was
graduating.
just teasing. So, okay, well, thank you.
And I can just respond to your first two questions quickly. Related to the ag budget, yes, we agree that it's very important. We're working hard to apply for funding. There's quite a few funding opportunities that we expect to be available in the coming months, particularly as Prop 4 funds roll out. And we are fortunate to be really well connected to the North Coast Soil Hub, which is a regional coalition of RCDs that are actively applying for regional funding. And without getting too into the weeds, the pie chart I did display is a little misleading in that it only captures the money that really hits our books in any given fiscal year. And the way that our ag funding is structured is just a little bit different in that we do connect producers in Lake County with significant amounts of technical assistance funding, or financial assistance, but it is channeled directly from the funding agency themselves and doesn't pass through us. So I don't have the numbers at the top of my head, but through our Healthy Soils program, that's been several $100,000s of dollars that have gone
That's
directly to Lake
amazing.
County farmers.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to see, I don't want to see our agriculture, I don't want to see the same numbers in 2026 that we've seen in 2025.
Yeah, we
As
don't
far
either.
as people going under.
Yeah, I think our SALC project will be a really good effort to identify how we can be the most strategic, and we're working hard in the meantime as that project plays out to access more funding. Yeah.
Thank you.
And as far as the Terra budget piece, that $5 million, much of it will support their work on 1,100 acres, but it also supports their existing TREX program, which is a really significant workforce development program and training opportunity that they run and will run for the next 4 years.
Okay, so it's more than just the 1,100 acres.
Yeah, it
Okay.
certainly, the main thrust of that funding is implementation focused, but there's quite a lot else that it will support. And we'd be happy to share some more updates on how those numbers shake out once we are more underway.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Not seeing anything else from the board, I'll go ahead and open it up to the public. Is there anybody in the room that wishes to speak? Go ahead and come forward, Chief.
Good morning, board and risk reduction folks and fire safe folks. Just want to say that you have a great group here. They do an awesome job. They put together meetings, and it's a huge change since I've been in this position about 6 years of watching this group grow, flourish, and get things huge. Have this group going after grants and funding opportunities and just keeping the county together. You don't get what you don't apply for. So that is huge in the grant world, and just having folks that are boots on the ground making that happen, and that contact between agency and actually work getting done, that's really where they fit in. It's huge, and I really appreciate them. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief
Thank you.
Duncan.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kate Schmidt-Hopper. I'm a board member at large. And I just wanted to make sure that you knew that our board meetings are also Brown Act and open to the public. You can Zoom in if you choose to. And those meetings are the third Thursday of every month at 1 p.m. And those are at the Ag Department, but we have the conference room, so it's not a closet. So please join us on Zoom if you can. In fact, we switched the day from Tuesdays to Thursdays so that the supervisors could join us. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the public, in the room? Not seeing anyone online, Joanna? No hands, I'll go ahead and close it and bring it back to the board, and there's no action for the,
See you all tomorrow. I'm going to the Clear Lake Oaks thing.
Great. We'll see you there.
On the pontoon.
Yeah, we might be riding a little low in the boat, but we'll it'll be great. Yeah, it's be a nice morning for it.
Thank you for both presentations. We
Yes.
appreciate it. Have a good day. Did you want to say something else, Terry?
No, item 6.5.
Oh, you're staying. So we're going to move on to our 6.5 item, our 9:30 item, consideration of update on 2025 activities of the Lake County Community Risk Reduction Authority. And I'll let Supervisor Vice Chair Pyska or Supervisor Crandall start that out.
So the RCD has taken over support of the Risk Reduction Authority. It's been 2 years-ish, which has been amazing. We really struggled in the beginning having the capacity to support meetings and subcommittees, agendas and minutes, and it has been an incredible, it's just been incredible to have John and team supporting us so that we could really focus on the work of the JPA. So our commitment is to have an annual presentation to the Board of Supervisors, and I will turn it over to John and Terry, I guess, for this presentation.
Hey folks, me again. Once again, John Vandervoort, Program Manager, Lake RCD. Great to be here today. And as Supervisor Pyska already teed up, really excited to join today to provide the annual update on behalf of the Lake County Risk Reduction Authority, also known as the RRA, and highlight some of the activities that we have been prioritizing over the last 12 months, over the last year, and also flag some of the priorities that we are looking forward to in the coming years. So, for folks that might be less familiar with the RRA was originally created through a joint powers agreement in 2018 between the county and a number of local fire protection districts. And this was in response really to the intense series of wildfires that we are all familiar with that started in 2015. And this really spurred the realization that more effective and closer coordination, collaboration, communication was required between government entities and agencies to ensure that those agencies are able to most effectively prepare for future natural events, as well as most effectively reduce risk in their communities. And since then, the RRA has grown. It now includes membership of local fire protection districts in the county, as well as both cities and special districts, including the water districts and 4 of our county's sovereign tribal nations. So the goals of the RRA and its primary purpose are what you see here in front of you. Primarily, the RRA really seeks to act as that coordinating entity, that information sharing body between those government agencies, again, to ensure effective use of government authority and to ensure that those government agencies are coordinating as closely together with one another wherever possible. The goal of the RRA is also to offer low or no cost risk reduction services to the public, as well as supporting funding to implement and maintain such programs. And then finally, another primary activity of the RA is providing resources, supporting members of the public in so that they are able to better assess and manage their risks. This includes providing informational materials. This includes hosting town halls on priority topics, which I'll speak to a little bit more in just a moment. And really, this is very closely connected and tied to acting as a primary information sharing body within the county. Now, as I already spoke to, since its original formation, the RRA has expanded its membership significantly. It's actively governed by a board of directors, including leadership from all of these local government entities. It's currently chaired by Supervisor Pyska, as well as Vice Chair Crandall. Thank you both so much again for your leadership within the RRA. And again, as was already alluded to, administrative support is provided primarily by the Lake County Resource Conservation District. This includes keeping meetings Brown Act compliant, maintaining meeting minutes, ensuring coordination between partners, organizing agendas and speakers, all of the fun stuff and everyone's favorite part of these meetings, for sure. That was originally funded through a previous grant that the county was administering, the APGP grant, the Adaptation Planning Grant, and this service is now provided through a direct contract with the RCD, in between the county and the RCD. So that's a little bit of what the RRA seeks to do. Now speaking a little bit to what we have been able to do over the last year. In 2025, the RRA was able to host 12 monthly meetings in varying locations across Lake County. This is to ensure maximal accessibility to all of Lake County's practitioners. And we also hosted 4 special meetings. This is, again, really directly tied to that information sharing priority of the RRA. We hosted 2 meetings focused on providing DEI trainings to ensure that RRA leadership and county practitioners are able to most effectively engage some of our most underserved populations and communities. We also hosted 1 public town hall on water use for fire suppression, which I'll provide a little bit more information on shortly. And then we also provided 1 public town hall providing input on the Lake County Climate Adaptation Plan. And we were really excited for the opportunity to work so closely with county staff to provide that level of public feedback. The RA also convened 3 subcommittees in 2025. The subcommittees of the RRA are really some of the primary mechanisms that allow members of the RRA and also members of the public to connect really directly with one another and coordinate around a very specific topic. And we have convened 3 subcommittees over the last year. 1 focused on biomass utilization. This is connected to a biomass utilization pilot project that was administered by the RRA. 1 subcommittee is explicitly focused on the topic of funding coordination. To steal a line from Chief Duncan, you don't get what you don't apply for. So this is really about making sure that those partners are able to actively track relevant upcoming opportunities and coordinate around them in a way that is effective. And then finally, we also convened the Water Use for Fire Suppression Subcommittee. So digging in a little bit deeper to what each of these subcommittees has focused on over the last year. Again, the Grants Best Fit Subcommittee, which is the subcommittee focused on funding coordination. This is a subcommittee that convenes monthly. It convenes on 3rd Thursday of every month at 11 a.m. And this provides practitioners and agency representatives within the county the opportunity to check in with one another and make sure that everyone is aware of upcoming funding opportunities coming down from the state and federal level, making sure that we are reducing competition with one another wherever possible, recognizing that Lake County has historically not brought in the same level of funding that some of our neighboring counties have, and making sure that we are, again, collaborating and working with one another and partnering with other agencies within the county to apply for grants as a group and collaboratively to try to secure as much funding for the critical work as possible. As I mentioned, we also convened the Water for Fire Suppression Subcommittee. This was originally convened in March of 2025, and this was really focused on identifying opportunities for local fire protection districts and water purveyors, water districts within the county to coordinate more effectively with one another, recognizing that those 2 groups were not coordinating as closely with one another as they could have been. And as a result of this subcommittee, we're happy to share that the water purveyors within the county are now meeting on a monthly basis, which prior to this town hall and prior to this subcommittee had not happened for a number of years. And forgive me for reading from my notes, but I want to make sure I get this next part right. And as a result of the coordination in this subcommittee, really happy to share that our local leaders have been able to elevate what has been learned here in Lake County to a statewide audience with our very own Chief Willie Cepeda and our very own Terry Logsden being invited to participate in a statewide workshop series on water supply, wildfire research, and policy coordination, which is hosted by UCLA's Luskin Center for Innovation. And that was a direct result of the coordination that started in this initial town hall. And then finally, the subcommittee. A primary purpose of this biomass subcommittee was to oversee the administration of a biomass pilot project, which was funded by the Governor's Office of Land Use and Climate Innovation, LCI, previously known as Governor's Office of Planning and Research, OPR. And this is a project that the RA has been administering for just over a year, and it is actively wrapping up. And we are working with our grant consultants to move towards grant closeout in the next couple of weeks. And the primary outputs of this grant were the 3 documents that you see listed in front of you. The biomass feasibility study, which really describes the current market conditions and outlined what is needed in Lake County to really develop and build out that biomass utilization market. It also includes an entity action plan, which describes the types of services that the RRA is most well suited to provide within Lake County and how it might provide those services to address the barriers to building out that biomass utilization market. And then finally, this also included an RA financial analysis study, which focused on identifying the sustainable funding mechanisms that the RA might be able to utilize in the future to maintain sustained funding for this programming. And as I mentioned, we are actively working with our consultants that we've been working with over the year to close out this project over the next couple of weeks, and we'll be able to share these reports for broader distribution after grant closeout. So we're excited to distribute those. And then finally, the RA is really excited to continue to dig in deeper and continue to provide even more comprehensive services than it has been providing over the last year. We are looking to continue to expand our membership to be inclusive of all of Lake County's communities. We are going to be prioritizing over the next couple of months some targeted outreach to Lake County organizations and agencies that are not currently involved with the RA to ensure that the RA membership and participation remains as inclusive as possible. And then we are also going to continue to provide that direct support to RA members, providing them not just the opportunities to come together and coordinate closely with one another and share relevant opportunities, but also provide direct targeted assistance, allow for those opportunities for coordinated project development, joint fundraising, collaborative grant proposal development, which is really one of the most effective ways that our RA members are able to engage with one another. And with that, thank you all so much. Really appreciate the time and the opportunity to share today.
Thank you. Vice Chair Pyska?
Yeah, so we had our monthly meeting yesterday. It's the third Thursday of the month at 3 p.m. and it moves around to different locations.
Monday.
I'm sorry, Monday. Thank you. Yesterday was Monday. Third Monday of the month, we move around to different partners' locations so that we're constantly moving around the lake. And yesterday we had some really amazing conversations, and we all reflected on how far we've come since 2018. And I started attending the meetings in 2019. To have the JPA members, all the government agencies sitting around the table once a month, talking to each other, the cities, tribal governments, the county, the Watershed Protection District, but also the partners, the Forest Service, BLM showed up, Caltrans typically shows up, Clerk and the Red Cross, and all of these agencies sharing out the work that they're doing and looking for areas to collaborate and layer together. It's pretty incredible. The RRA is becoming a little famous because we talk about it at the state and federal levels with our colleagues because it's very unique. It's a very unique organization. And yesterday we were joined by 3 members from Siskiyou County's OES because they were looking at our model and they wanted to see what the sharing out looks like because it is from a conversation that I had with their staff in December at the CSAC conference. It's also made us eligible for a lot of funding because this is such a unique collaboration. And when we apply for these grants, like the APGP grant, they're looking for shared work amongst all of these partners. So we already have that convening meeting. It makes the grant writing, I won't say easy because we've written some really challenging grants, but we do realize a lot of opportunities because of the organization. And I will just say one more thing that's come out of the Water for Fire Suppression meetings is not just having Chief Cepeda and our Climate Resiliency Officer on the state stage talking about this work, but I also carried that to DC to talk with Senator Padilla's staff about this need. And Senator Padilla is actually writing a bill right now to support water for fire suppression infrastructure. It's called the Fire Smart Act, which the text hasn't come out yet, but our lobbyists at Paragon have been following it. And that is just another really tangible, excellent outcome that comes out of this collaboration. And it's everybody working together. This was an idea that Chief Cepeda came up with, and then he brought it to the RRA, and then Terry jumped in, and then we had all these conveners. So I just really want to thank the RCD for this continued support. And and, you know, and I know it's a choice that you make. And I know that we're continually looking for more funding to support the RRA, but this really is critical work, and I'm really grateful that you are doing the administrative support and that you're committed. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further from supervisors?
Yeah, you just know when you go to these meetings, there's just everybody's at the table, and it's a 2-hour meeting, and there's times when you think, well, we might get through this one quickly, but everybody has so much to bring to the table of all the work they're doing. So it's a good collaborative central location where everybody can share that and actually, network, not only network, but just like be able to, opportunities to create connections and possibly even work towards other projects or something like that. So it's really helpful.
Thank you. Supervisor Owen?
You know, I know that you guys have been doing some amazing work, and I'm just wondering, to be able to boast a little bit, is there anything tangible yet that has came forward as far as reductions in insurance or people being able to qualify for insurance that had been dropped previously? Is there anything along those lines so we can say, this is what,
Yeah. Well, thank you for bringing that up. It's a little early to share some of the things, but one of the founding ideas of the Risk Reduction Authority back in 2018 by then Supervisor Jim Steele was to focus on insurance. And so I've been having a lot of conversations with insurance companies over the last couple months, and we've been really looking at the successes of the home hardening pilot, but also the other areas where we're doing so much resilience work. And the conversations with the insurance companies are actually really positive and really productive. What they want to see are communities engaged in doing the work. And that's what we're starting to show them. So we have our Firewise Summit next month in April, which a lot of the RRA members will hopefully be joining. And I've invited 2 of the insurance companies to come and talk with our Firewise leaders to understand what we're doing. Because one of them said to me, like, we're not afraid of high wildfire threat areas. We want to see the work. And so we had a long conversation yesterday at the RRA about it, because it is just one of the things that we're working on. But my conversation with Councilmember Kramer in developing the Redbud Fire Safe Council is this, look at what the Konocti Fire Safe Council is doing. Because we have the pilot there, but we have all of the other grants that have been layered on over the years. And one of the reasons why the tracker is so important, what John was talking about, if we go back to the last presentation with the Fire Safe Council, is where we have this documented, all the work that's happening, all the projects that are happening. And then we have a state tracker that John is going to be uploading into the state tracker, and then Clerk also has a tracker, and they're going to be uploading, so that we have everything in one place, because the state tracker is publicly available. Mm-hmm. And when I'm on calls with the insurance companies, I pull up the map and I say, this is the work that's happening in this pilot, but look at these communities, how safe they are because of all of the work that's happening around them. And that's really where we need to be, is to have that work publicly accessible and documented, so that when we are talking with the insurance companies and saying, look, this is an insurable community because we're doing the work, here is the proof. So it's not all happening in one singular place. It's happening with the RCD and the Fire Safe Council and the Risk Reduction Authority and your Fire Safe Council and the South Lake Fire Safe Council and all the Firewise neighborhoods. It's this really big collective work that is proving out that we can lower risk and we can be really responsible and learn to live in our environment the way that it is. And that's the biggest lesson. And so all of these things coming together are getting us to a place where hopefully we're going to be able to work better with insurance companies, and they're going to be writing policies. I hear it.
Okay, so and the reason I was asking, one of the reasons is, of course, we've started a new Fire Safe Council in Redbud Fire Safe Council, and we're looking at trying to get some fire-wise communities going, and one of them would be Twin Lakes is the first one we had stepped out to. And so having these selling points, and so it sounds like we're not quite there yet, but we're getting there where we can start reaping the benefits, and that's what I was looking for as a sales point to get more people involved. So, okay.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And we met with Supervisor Sabatier and Mayor Kramer yesterday to talk about Redbud and its efforts to connect with those firewise communities, and definitely have many of Supervisor Pyska's points in mind as we strategize around how to kind of bring people on board and get the word out. So, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Go ahead, Supervisor Sabatier.
Yeah, and none of it is about reinventing the wheel. There's been a lot of activity for many years. We just have to look at where were their successes and what do we steal? Because in government, that's called borrowing, but in other things, that would be bad. But we can easily copy and paste what others have done to be successful. The Redbud Fire Safe Council is greatly supported in that sense that we are literally learning based on what others have already learned through trial and error. So we don't have to do the same thing.
Thank you. Anything further? Well, I'll just say that thank you for the presentation, and this is critical, important program to keep moving forward. And I'll go ahead and open it up. I'll go ahead and open it up to the public. Is there anyone in the room who wishes to comment? Chief?
Thank you again for the time. Yeah, the RRA is really one of those components that allows our little county to punch above our weight as far as getting resources together, and the JPA is something that's just so unique and is a great thing. To speak to Supervisor Owen's question on insurance, some of those have already been fruitful in the FAIR plan and getting some of those reductions done, because there are guidelines now on what you can do to improve your insurance. It's not a huge reduction, but it is something. So that is huge also. But I just do want to thank the RRA for all their work and their coordination and their great organization. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's great to know.
Anyone else in the room? Not seeing any, nobody online? Then I'll go ahead and bring it back. Donna? Donna, you can unmute and you'll have 3 minutes. State your name, please.
Thank you, Donna Makowitz, Clear Lake Oaks. Fantastic presentation. I really appreciate everything you all do. And I just thought I'd share that Clear Lake Oaks Property Owners Association has been a Firewise community for years. And we're really excited to host you guys. Come on out tomorrow. And again, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. No more hands? Yes, Sam?
Hi, Sam Houston, Public. I was asked to help out with the Twin Lakes Firewise. And in reaching out to the community, what I've seen is when we had the was it in 2024 we had you had the program that was going out and doing risk reduction, and it was very, very valuable, and we actually, our property actually had the opportunity to experience that. And what I've heard from some of the neighbors, because I've been trying to do some outreach, and God, now I know why this is so annoying. I haven't. Okay, so so anyway, what I found out is that we have some very impoverished people in our community, and they need additional help, and but they are also concerned whether their neighbors across the way, because in our area we do have we've had illegal grows, and so that some of those areas where the illegal grows are very high-risk areas, lots of fuel. So what I hear back from the people I speak with is that they're concerned that, okay, well, if we have this stuff on our property, we have this fuel mitigation done on our property, but across the street, we've got this we've got just high risk fuels. So it's how to mitigate that. And so that's one of the things I wanted to just mention here, because I think that's the feedback I'm getting, and I want you to know that. So, okay. So thank you very much. And John, I look forward to talking with you soon.
Thank you. And I believe that concludes public comment, and this was presentation, no action. Thank you. And we're going to go ahead and take our morning break at this point.
Thank you.
I think we have everybody. I'm going to call our meeting back to order at 10:48, and we're going to move to our 6.6 item, 9:45 item, consideration of a letter of support for the Putting Down Roots, establishing Terra's Eco-Cultural Stewardship Training Center of the Tribal Eco Restoration Alliance. What this is a consideration of a letter of support from this board to the Blue Ribbon Committee regarding a grant that Terra will be submitting at the end of the month to support their training center for this type of work. So that's what we have in front of us. And with that, Chair or Supervisor Crandall, do you want to add anything?
No, I just want to support it and go forward from there.
Yes, Supervisor Sabatier.
Just wondering if location is still just after the Nice Lucerne cutoff on just south of the Middle Creek Restoration Project?
Yes,
That's
it
still
is.
the anticipated destination for that training center?
Yes, it is. And I believe it's the property they have is technically in districts 3 and 4. It's right around the border there. But somewhere off of, is it Bridge Arbor?
Yeah.
Bridge Arbor Road, I believe. So we're definitely in that area.
Okay.
Anything further from board?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay. I had been working on, and this is the first time I brought it forward, and I don't know if Tara might be interested in this as well. The Coast Guard station is kind of a property that they have basically abandoned, and it's coming up, I'm not sure exactly when. I was wanting to use that for a emergency services training area, and I don't know if Tara would be interested in that as well. So that's just something, just a little tidbit just to kind of set out there
Okay.
and leave it there for now.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything else from the board? Then I'll go ahead and open it up to the public. Is there any members of the public that wishes to comment on this consideration of support for Tara? No hands online? Okay, I'll bring it back to the board, and if somebody wants to make a...
Yes. I will motion to approve a letter of support for Putting Down Roots, establishment Terrace Eco-Cultural Stewardship Training Center of the Tribal Eco Restoration Alliance.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries.
Chair, I think,
What was that?
and authorize the chair to sign.
So you've amended the motion?
Yes.
Second.
Second still, we still have an aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that amended motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to move on to our 6.7 item, 10 a.m. item, consideration or presentation of the 2026 Weights and Measures Report. And we have our Agricultural Commissioner and Deputy Commissioner here. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, Commissioner.
Good morning, Board. Catherine Vanderwall, Agricultural Commissioner and Sealer of Weights and Measures. And with me this morning is Sam Upton, Deputy Agricultural Commissioner, Deputy Sealer of Weights and Measures. So this morning we are going to present, we're going to highlight our Weights and Measures programs. I feel like it's a little bit lesser known aspect of our department. And we choose to do that in March because every year in March, let me go to the next one. So the first week in March is nationally recognized as Weights and Measures Week, and this commemorates John Adams' signing of the first Weights and Measures Law in 1799. So the theme for this year is We Measure What Matters, and we're just going to celebrate all of March as Weights and Measures, highlighting our programs. So just some statistics for Lake County. Kind of what is Weights and Measures? It's providing consumer protection and equity in the marketplace. So Weights and Measures impacts everybody making a transaction every day, right? If you go into a store and purchase something, filling up at the gas station, you're impacted by Weights and Measures and the work that my staff does here in Lake County. So in 24-25, this information is based off of an annual report that we are required to submit to the State Department of Agriculture. So that's where these figures come from. So we had 152 unique business locations inspected, 1,523 commercial devices inspected, and we investigated 17 consumer complaints. And here you can see the various types of devices that are registered in Lake County through our device registration program. So we have 769 gas pumps, 78 large capacity scales, 35 cannabis scales, 1,166 electric submeters. So these are submeters, so like think mobile home parks, apartment complexes, where a utility is coming in and being submetered out. So we test those submeters, so not somebody's main meter that's on their house. So weighing and measuring devices. So you can see the pictures, there's a few examples here. So you may have seen those water dispensers that are outside of stores or in stores, small scales that you'd see at the grocery store, and then for gasoline. So we are determining if the devices are suitable for commercial use, and then we're testing these devices to determine their accuracy. So these also include scales at like your farmers markets, right? If somebody at the farmers market is weighing out the produce and you're buying it by weight, we are testing those scales and also making sure that they're using a scale that's approved for that use. Some more weighing and measuring devices. So here we have, going from left to right, we have a livestock scale that's being tested, and that's with our new heavy capacity weight truck. In the middle there is a nice antique photo pulled from our files. That's a vehicle scale that's being tested with one of probably the original weight trucks. And then, all the way down to like your point of sale systems where, it's going across a cash register and they're actually weighing your produce. Mm-hmm. So we're testing those scales as well. So petroleum products, kind of what we're looking for, we're testing for accuracy at the pump. So especially, something that everybody's concerned about right now with the rising gas prices, making sure you're actually getting what you're paying for. We also go out and take samples and we send those to the state lab. So fuel samples, diesel samples, making sure that those products are meeting the standards and the requirements. So we also check the advertising and labeling of petroleum products and respond to complaints. So we had 2 complaints yesterday that staff responded to. And another thing you can see in that middle photo, our inspectors are also looking for skimming devices when they're doing their petroleum inspections. So some of our meter inspections, this includes delivery trucks, stationary propane. So if you're having propane or another type of a fuel delivered to your house, those trucks are equipped with a metering device. So we actually go and test those trucks to make sure that they're being metered correctly. And submeters, as I mentioned, so these are the different types of submeters. So we have water submeters, propane submeters and electric submeters. Again, these are typically found in mobile home parks, apartment complexes. So these are tested on their schedule. And then, of course, if there's complaints, we look back to see when was that meter tested and then follow up with the complaint. I don't have the photo in there. I just want to add with these submeters, and thanks to your board, our office was able to secure it's called a water meter test bench. So with that, staff is able to test these water submeters more efficiently and then using a closed system. So the water that's used to run through, run through the meters is recycled water. So it goes in one tank, flows through the meters, and goes into another tank. So it's been very efficient. And staff actually really enjoys testing these meters now. Price verification. So this is a program right now where we respond to on a complaint basis. So this is if someone goes and makes a purchase and they believe that they were overcharged on an item. So we will follow up with that. If that happens, we will go to a store, usually do a bunch of test purchases, take those up to the register, make sure things are actually ringing up as the price is advertised. And so just kind of a little thing up there, by law, there is no such thing as an expired sale sign. So if a sale sign is still up and posted, then that price is what the consumer is entitled to pay. Some of the newer technology that we're looking at are electric charging stations, and then of course the digital meter devices, which we have found some to be problematic because with the digital technology, it means like somebody somewhere is able to remote into these devices. So making sure that that's not something that's able to be done to where, somebody could be manipulating the numbers that would go against the consumer. All right, I ran through that pretty fast. I guess I'll give it to Sam to see if he has anything to add at this time, or if you guys have questions, he's my technical support person.
I don't have any dad, so I can answer questions though.
Okay. Thank you. And Supervisor Owen has a question.
Yeah. How often do the scales, do you get through the whole county, or are there some that probably don't get tested? For instance, on scales. How often are you able to get them?
Yeah, scales are once a year.
Once a year? And you get to all of them in the county?
Pretty much, yeah.
And then the gas stations as well?
Yes.
Right now, that's a big, okay. Is there any that don't do on the quality and the quantity? Are there any of them that don't?
Well, about 4% fail. That's for both scales and gas pumps.
Oh, okay.
With propane, it's a much higher percentage, probably because it's under high pressure.
I see.
Those fail maybe at around 10%.
Oh.
And then heavy capacity scales also fail, like vehicle scales will fail at a higher rate as well.
Oh,
I think
okay.
it's just the heavy usage, big trucks.
Sure.
Going on and off.
Probably jiggling them a little bit.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Supervisor Sabatier.
Yeah, I was noticing that was two separate presentations versus the one that we received in our packet versus what you gave. And in there it did say the 4% because I was like, I knew it. I knew my tomato didn't weigh that. But what is your process when they do fail in order to ensure that it goes back so that the consumer can have that expectation and predictability that what they're buying is exactly what they're receiving?
So there is an allowable tolerance, but if it's outside of that tolerance against the customer, then we would red tag it, meaning they can't use the device until it's been tested and fixed. If it's in the customer's favor, we do allow them to use it for a while until they get it fixed, because then it's not hurting anybody but the business. They can choose to take it out of service if they want to, but we do give them a timeline to get it fixed because it does need to be fixed and sealed on a timely basis.
Okay. And do you do kind of like a environmental health would tag for violations at a restaurant that this pump is down because of such and such, or is it a little bit more low key? Because I've never seen any of those signs that this scale or this pump is
Out of service.
Out of service due to.
It's like a red tag. So if you're at a gas station, you see, sometimes there'll be maybe a yellow out of service thing that the gas stations put on. Our tag is like a red tag that actually physically keeps it from being lifted off the handle. So we try to put it like technically out of service.
Okay. And I do appreciate when I see the New Year sticker saying it has been inspected. I feel a little bit better on the inside, so thank you. Thank you for getting to them all. That's quite a lot.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting all, so that's awesome.
And go ahead, did you want to say something?
Oh, I was just going to say Supervisor Sabatier mentioned the report that was submitted to you guys. That's more facts and figures. The presentation, I want to highlight more of the actual programmatic work that we do. So yeah.
Appreciate it.
And my question is, because I know skimmers are common in the country, but I don't know about here. How often do we actually find those?
I've never found one here. I do know that they found some in Hopland in Mendocino County. So it's quite possible that they could be here, but I haven't found any personally.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Anything else? I'm not seeing anything else from board members. I'll go ahead and open it up to the public. And I don't think we have anyone in the room and no hands on Zoom. So we'll bring it back to the board and thank you for the presentation and we appreciate it. Okay, I believe we've finished all of our timed items. Go ahead. No, yes, I'm sorry. There's one more. Never mind. We're going to move on to our 6.8, which is our 1030 item, consideration of enterprise resource planning project, which actually I had a request to continue that to a future date, uncertain at this point. So that's where we are. Do we have any questions from board members? Not seeing any. Anyone in the room? No? Anyone online? Bring it back to the board. So do we have consensus to move it to a future date? Yeah, I'm seeing it. Thank you. And that should conclude our timed items. So I'll move on to our non-timed items. And I think we can do supervisors' reports this week. We're doing pretty good on time. And we haven't done it for a couple weeks. Who wants Supervisor Crandall?
Yes, so tomorrow I have the Clear Lake Oaks revitalization site visit, Worth in the evening. Looks like I have, I think a PVP. I don't know, it's not set yet, but we're looking at it. It's tentative. There's a couple of meetings that day with the constituent calls. Friday, we have we're going to meet with the group. They call it the ad hoc group, but it's really just it's the group to talk about the potential situation with mobile home parks. And then Saturday, I'll be doing an opening for Red Cross at Robinson Rancheria. Monday, meeting with CAO, and then Tuesday back here.
Thank you.
I'll go. Well, I'll just give a brief update because we haven't had a report out in a while, but on our trip to DC for the NACO Ledge Conference, I went a day early so I could be there on Friday, and Paragon helped organize meetings with the House Transportation and Infrastructure staff, Senate banking staff, and then Senator Padilla's office to talk about the home hardening project because the FEMA funding expires next February. And even though we're seeing a lot of successes, I wanted to make sure it was on everybody's radar so that they could have conversations, and they did. So that was really productive. And then outside the regular conference, we did have a conversation with both senators that CSAC organized. And so both Supervisor Sabatier and myself were there, and I did get to speak with them directly about the home hardening program. And then we split duties the rest of the afternoon, and I went and did the Hill visits with our federal delegation. And then I'll let Supervisor Sabatier talk about what he did that afternoon, if he would like. So then tomorrow I've got LAFCO in the morning and then Ag Advisory, and then I have to drive to Jamestown for the Wildfire Task Force meeting, which is on Thursday and Friday. So I'll be there for both days. And then back on Monday with my call with CAO Parker.
Thank you. Supervisor Sabatier, ready?
I can't help but notice my colleague laughed a little bit when she said maybe I'll talk about it. Just to recap on Washington, there was a lot of conversations about the work that Supervisor Pyska has been doing. I know that there was talk earlier today about potential bills because of all the work that you've been doing. I know that I went there with a couple reasons as the chair of the Health Steering Committee. I do want to let people know, for whether for better or worse, I had put in an interim resolution to request for government health care at the federal level to be expanded so we can purchase health care to cover our law enforcement and our first responders in a way so that we can pay into a program that pays us back. Because right now all we're doing is paying Blue Shield or Blue Cross, and that money does not come back to our community, and it just continuously every single year goes up. That was unanimously approved by the entire NACO as well as the Health Steering Committee, and I'm working on getting congressional interest to push that as well, because that's very high interest on my end. While my colleague Supervisor Pyska went to go meet with our federal partners, I had a special invite to meet with Dr. Oz. And that was a very strange meeting where every answer to every single problem was AI. And in fact, just about maybe a couple days ago, heard about some release on how AI will be solving some of our healthcare issues. I also left with an invite to come see our community to actually understand what he is misunderstanding, because he seems to believe that there is access to the internet everywhere, that there is not a need for ambulance service anymore, and that your phone can basically become your EMT, your doctor, and your savior all at the same time. It was a very strange conversation, but did provide some insight of making sure that our waiver 1115, which gives us CalAIM, is continued and extended, that was very important to allow each state to innovate. And also to try and delay, because some states, especially Alaska, but he didn't really want to talk about Alaska, but they've had delays in the implementation of some of HR 1. And so as a team, and I was with a team with folks from Texas, North Carolina, Ohio, and Chicago, we all requested some delays in implementation because of the overall cost, which came as a surprise to him, because he said, but we gave each state $2 million. We're like, no, we didn't see any of that. I don't think you understand how that works. And $2 million does not cover, I think we're up to $427 million on the potential cost of these additional requirements that have been placed just on eligibility check, let alone the actual cost that will come down the line. So whether you agree with what changes happen or not, all of that will be shifting onto counties as far as taking care of the folks that will still be in our communities, because they're not going anywhere and they still need to be provided care. So it was an interesting meeting, privileged to be there, but we all kind of left a little confused as to the type of environment he lives in versus the environment we serve in. Very busy coming up on this week. I have a LAFCO meeting, an AVA meeting on Wednesday, starting off tomorrow morning with Judge's Breakfast. Then an IFT meeting. I'm going to skip the EMCC since I'm sure Chair Rasmussen will be there. I will go to the NACO rural meeting, rural caucus meeting. There's supposed to be a meeting put together this week. I'm sure that Supervisor Crandall may be aware of more than I am, but to have a discussion about Potter Valley Project with some of our federal partners. And later on that day, I have a Lake County Food Policy Council, and finishing it up with Clear Lake City Council. As Supervisor Crandall mentioned, having conversations about mobile home parks. I know a lot of folks are really frustrated with the lack of content coming back to the Board of Supervisors. I'm just going to be blunt and honest. The Board of Supervisors is not a place for brainstorming and a place for writing ordinances. We've had the conversation, we've had direction, and we want to come back with something of substance, not something where it just engages the community and doesn't actually end up with change. So we are working on something, and we are planning to bring it back to the board as soon as possible, and details will come along further. And then our WANB meeting the June one was moved. Our WANB meeting in later on that Friday, and then coming back on Monday which Monday has more stuff, but I'll be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Owen, are you ready?
I am. Last week we didn't do calendars, so let me just hit on those items that popped up last week, which was, I went to my first because the energy policy meetings, the ad hoc, I had missed some of those. They were conflicting with some of my dates, and I was able to meet with them. So that was a productive meeting. I'm excited to be part of that. I also attended, that was on Wednesday, as well as an animal control board meeting. I had the South Deal, which is our Caltrans meeting on Thursday, Lake County Recreation meeting, and math on Thursday as well. And then I started playing catch up on Friday, which I'm still not completely caught up from the week and a half I was sick. This week, I have I'm going to try to attend that Lake County, what is it called, that we just found out about, the Resource Conservation District tomorrow at 9:30. I have an Lake County Agriculture meeting at 1:30. That's the advisory committee. And on Thursday, I would like to hit a couple of our department heads that we have not visited yet, and I was going to check with Mr. Rasmussen to see if he wanted to try to make it to animal control on Thursday. We were going to try to make it together to that department, and then I'd also like to meet with our tax department, which would be Rich Ford. And then I'm still playing catch up, so Friday I'm going to try to get the rest of the way caught up on emails and messages, as well as reach out to some of my constituents.
Thank you. I also attended the Animal Control Advisory Board, which very soon will be bringing a update to the board and a potential bylaw change. I had BVAC with Vice Chair Pyska last week. Also attended the Mental Health Advisory Board meeting. I did a hitch discussion on a radio show on Saturday. Did my hitch survey yesterday. Had Scotts Valley Advisory Council Town Hall last night. Tonight, if we get out of here, which I think we will, I'm going to go to the Mendo Mill Contractors.
Stuck forever.
Yeah, Contractors Night over at Robinson Rancheria. May not be at LAFCO. I was scheduled to also attend the Clear Lake Oaks project, and I know there's three of us, which we can work that out as long as we stay on different boats. I think would be the main issue. So I probably will be at that and not LAFCO. Attended a Juvenile Justice Council meeting this week. Supervisor Crandall, are you going to make the AVA tomorrow? I think you're the secondary member.
I may not.
I'm an alternate, so I'll see what I can do. I think it's at 1 o'clock. Should be done with the Oaks by then. I do plan to go to EMCC. It's on my calendar. I also have a law library meeting this week. I'm going to try to make the Operation Tango Mike event on Thursday, their monthly packing party. We have Coal Creek. I don't know if you'll be there. You're going to Jamestown Friday.
Yep.
Yeah.
I will not be there.
So I plan to attend it.
Good.
I also, on Friday, I'm taking a short class on the history of Native California through the Natural Resources Agency. Then I have a Scotts Valley St. Patrick's event this weekend, an Elks installation, and then Monday I plan to go to the APC Local Road Safety Meeting that's up here in Lakeport. And then, of course, my weekly meetings with CAO on the agenda and the pre-board meetings. And that concludes it for me. Thank you for the reports. I'm going to move on to our 7.2 item, which is consideration of the following advisory board appointment. First would be the Municipal Advisory Council, and second, the Kelseyville Cemetery District. I believe, Vice Chair, those are both yours. If you want to open that with any comments, or
I'm good with both of them.
you're good with both of those. Any other discussion from supervisors before I open it to the public? Okay, I'll go ahead and open it to the public. Is there anyone? What's that? No hands. No hands online, and I see nobody in the room. And so I'll bring it back to the board for action.
Mr. Chair, I move that we appoint Magdalena Valderrama to the Cobb Area Council.
Let's take them one by one.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That carries 5-0.
And Mr. Chair, I move that we appoint Dennis Amendola to the Kelseyville Cemetery District.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, that also carries 5-0. Thank you. Next is our 7.3 item, consideration of Lake County City Area Planning Council membership to remove a member at large. I'll just briefly say that the Executive Committee of the Planning Council already addressed this and requested that it come to the board, as we have this member that has been appointed more than a year ago that hasn't attended any meetings. Is there anything else to add, Supervisor Sabati, on that for this particular?
No, thank you. I just want to apologize. There is a process when we approve things to make sure that there's communication to the right committees. Unfortunately, that communication did not occur when we approved Sally Peterson originally. I failed to also follow through with that as well. It's not just on staff. As board members, both of the supervisors and of the APC, I could have communicated that, and I failed to. So it is unfortunately that we're not making contact at this moment with Sally Peterson to see if she wishes to continue, because our last communication was yes, she was interested. So just wanted to at least put it out there that part of this process I could have done better to help it out and maybe resolve the problem in the first place. So
Thank you for that. I do want to add, though, it's my recollection, I believe that because of that mistake that we had, APC did reach out to her. She did indicate or desire to stay, but then we couldn't get back in contact. So I think an effort was made, and we're where we are at this point.
Yep.
So thank you for the more info. So do we have anybody in the public online? No? Anybody in the room? No? So I'll bring it back to the board for further discussion or action.
I move to approve the removal of Sally Peterson as member at large for the Area Planning Council.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries 5-0. And I believe that is all of our untimed items. So I'm going to go ahead and read off our closed items before we go into closed session. 8.1 is Public Employee Evaluation, title, Information Technology Director. 8.2 is Public Employee Evaluation, title, Agricultural Commissioner. 8.3 is Government Code Section 54957 Sub A, Threat to Public Services and Facilities, in consultation with the County Administrator, County Council, Public Services Director, and our Sheriff. 8.4 is Conference with Legal Counsel, Significant Exposure to Litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9 Sub D2 and E1 with 3 potential cases. 8.5, Conference with Labor Negotiator. That would be Conference with Labor Negotiator A, Chief Negotiator Susan Parker, County Negotiators Jay Salone, Stephen Carter, Casey Moreno, Pam Samick, and Diana Rico, and B, Employee Organization, the Deputy County Council Association. And then finally, 8.6, which is Public Employee Discipline, Dismissal, Release. Those are our closed session items, and I will ask if there's anybody in the room that wishes to make any comment on those titles. that were read out, not seeing anyone online. And we have no hands in Zoom, so I'll bring it back to the board, and we're going to go ahead and adjourn into closed session, right?
Could take
Unless,
care,
is there a request to take lunch early? Go ahead.
I think we could take care of a few of them and then go to lunch.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We have 35 minutes. So we'll go ahead and close and move into closed and then figure it out from there.